Hey everyone, in a previous video I covered my mountain bike setup that I use on the Thru-Rider, even for just long overnight or multi-night events. I thought I'd go over my gravel bike setup and for bike packing, and it's not so different. In my couple other videos you've seen me on my cyclocross bike with my bike setup, but I've started using my, this is a 2024 Blackheart Allroad Ti frame, and I have it set up mostly in a road bike configuration. I prefer the double crank versus the single. The downfall of the shortcoming by having the double crank on the front, or double chainring on the front, is that you can't put the maximum tire width on because of the derailleur. So the maximum I can put on this bike is a 35 millimeter tire, but I find them more than adequate. I don't know if it's just because of years of mountain biking and being able to ride a pretty skinny tire on technical stuff. It hasn't been an issue. But this bike, if I went with a single chainring configuration, I could put 40 millimeter tires on it. It does have it seems like a slightly higher standover height as far as the bottom bracket is concerned. But it handles amazingly. This bike is great. The other benefit of this over my cyclocross bike is I've got disc brakes, which are far more powerful than cantilever brakes. And also I have a much larger range. I believe this is a 3411 chainring on the back. And I've got a 5034 crankset on the front. So it's a nice mix. I can go up pretty steep stuff with this bike without having to get out of the saddle very often. So let's go from, we'll go from front to back this time. So I have ridden this bike with, I did use the Salsa Cradle on this bike, but I have carbon bars and I'm a little, hesitant to really cinch those things down, even at the maximum crank length, the maximum torque, because at the maximum torque with these bars, this did slip when I hit some bumps. So I'm going to change that up, and I'll show you that in a minute. But on that, I also had, similar to my mountain bike setup, I had my tent, my whole sleeping system in here. Sleeping pad, sleeping bag, pillow, and tent, all in here. And it was a good setup. The only thing I didn't have in here was the tent poles. I put those into the frame bag. So I am going to change things up a little bit for this year, for my next ride. I went back, you've probably seen the Revelate Pronghorn. It's very popular. It's super light. It's proven. So I've got that. That'll be my next setup. I'm going to put this on the handlebars for any future rides, because I think I'd just be a little more comfortable with that on those carbon bars. And I just, it's definitely significantly lighter than the Cradle system. So, and weight over time does add up. So that'll be what I'll be using going forward. Also sometimes I use the handlebar bags or water bottle bags on my handlebars, but I just use that for snacks. That's pretty much all I use it for, because I prefer to use the water bottles on the frame. Similar, I have the Swift Industries bag that I have my drone in, and again on this bike, I did try mounting it vertically, but there's not as much room as you have on a mountain bike. So I was able to mount it on top. With the Salsa Cradle, I was able to mount it on top and keep everything up here. We'll have to figure that out with the Revelate design with the Pronghorn, whether I can do something similar in the future. I also use my Rock Heist top tube bag, because, but I use this for food basically, because I would keep my battery banks in here as well, so they're handy and I could charge my phone. Things like that would be in there. And unlike my mountain bike where I have the full triangle filled, because this frame is a lot bigger than the triangle in this frame is a lot bigger than the mountain bike, I'm able to use a fairly large top tube bag. So again, it's another Revelate design bag. Really like their stuff, nice and waterproof, nice and tight. So I use that here on the frame. And then finally, I don't have this tool bag. I put my tools inside this bag, but I use the Apidura tail bag. And similar to the mountain bike, I'm gonna look at getting a rack for the back of the bike. So I think, I just wanna try it. I do find that, sometimes you need something out of here and it's quickly, and sometimes you have to take the whole thing off the bike in order to get at it. And you also have to really distribute the weight properly in a tail bag. You need to get all your weight, the heaviest item, down here, close to your seat post in order for it to function properly. So anyways, that's my rundown of the bike. If you have any thoughts or comments, please put them in down below. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And we'll talk to you in the next video. Keep the rubber side down.